All right, so let's get right into this. There was, in my opinion, a mistake that Biden made, and he probably didn't know because his advisors probably didn't get him in tune with it. Because let's be honest, his advisors probably have to cover a lot of topics. You know, President Biden has people for all kinds of stuff. I get that. I totally understand it. But he missed an opportunity for his direction when it comes to increasing Social Security benefits, when it comes to his pet project of all pet projects being Ukraine. Now, some of you guys know that we don't actually know in total what we spent on Ukraine at this point. We know the lower levels of what we likely spent are in the 200 billion, but the higher levels probably in the 400 billion, approaching half a trillion rather. So the bottom line is that we have a lot of Ukraine individuals that have come to this country to attach to what's called SSI benefits for entrance, which is of course refugees, asylum seekers, etc. You know, people that are basically abused, used, things like that. And so as a part of that, they then go into SSI benefits. However, some of them coulda, shoulda, woulda been able to go ahead and, you know, have an agreement with the U.S. through Ukraine to do a transfer of work credits or quarters of coverage. Now, there is this thing, okay? They're basically called, I'm going to tell you exactly what they are. They are called totalization agreements. They are agreements between the United States and some other country when it comes to how Social Security benefits will be treated if somebody is, you know, basically working overseas or, you know, whatever, so that they don't have to pay Social Security benefits to both countries in the form of a tax. We pay FICA taxes. Some other country will pay some other form. So, quick introduction: the United States has Social Security agreements called totalization agreements with multiple countries. We refer to these countries as agreement countries. The agreements have two main purposes. First, the agreements prevent dual Social Security taxes on earnings. This situation happens when a worker from one country works in another country and is required to pay Social Security taxes toward both countries' Social Security systems. Second, the agreements help fill gaps in benefit coverage for workers who divide their careers between the United States and an agreement country. That second part is what we're going into realistically here. For the United States, the agreements cover Social Security taxes, Medicare taxes, and retirement, disability, and survivors benefits under Title II of the Social Security Act. The agreements do not cover benefits under the Medicare program or the Supplemental Security Income Program under Title 16 of the Social Security Act. See below for information, yada, yada, yada. Susan Sells, thank you for the $19.99 donation. That's absolutely amazing. Guys, I always super appreciate when you do the donations. And the reason why is A, disability law doesn't make that much. And B, if I'm trying to do more of this channel work, I have to hire other people to like do YouTube stuff and other people to do law firm stuff. So those funds do help me go ahead and do more of these videos to keep you up to date as to what's going on so you have a full understanding. And also I'll be buying a new chair at some point because this thing literally, I just felt it squeak and I think it's going to fall. But you can see the arm literally does this. I mean, it's just, yeah, I don't know. And this is the second one. I just wear out chairs because I'm moving a lot. But here's the deal. Here are the countries that we have bilateral agreements with to basically help people who are stuck in a situation where they're working in between countries. Now, here is the theory that I have as to why Biden missed his opportunity. Biden could have signed a a bilateral totalization agreement. Funny little slip there. Yeah. A totalization agreement with Ukraine. And that way, when Ukraine people had to leave Ukraine and come to the U.S., they could have been set up under the Social Security system here as a transfer person and get more Title II benefits, as opposed to having to come here as a Title 16 SSI recipient. He could have done that because he's been, let's call it like it is, you know, given every chocolate and fuzzy bear to Ukraine that he possibly could. Now, with that said, here are some of the countries that we currently have these agreements with, these bilateral agreements. We have Australia, Austria, Belgium, Brazil, Canada, Chile, Czech Republic, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, Ireland, Italy, Japan, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Norway, Poland, Portugal, Slovak Republic, Slovenia, South Korea, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, United Kingdom, Uruguay. So we have all of those, got all of those, but we don't have one for Ukraine. And that, to me, for President Biden, with what he was trying to do here to support Ukraine individuals coming to America, was a missed opportunity. And, you know, like the thing is, his advisors probably didn't know about it. They probably didn't know what they could write into it, how they could write it. They could have written up that bilateral agreement to say that, you know, in case of a war or this or that, you know, the United States would comp whatever they paid into the, you know, to the Ukraine system and bring them over here and then set them up as if they were to receive Social Security benefits. Would it have emptied the trust funds faster? Absolutely. Is President Biden okay with Social Security benefits going into the red and people not getting their full retirement check faster on the timeline? Absolutely, because he just passed the Social Security Fairness Act, which basically, for anybody that doesn't have a dual pension situation, basically makes it way worse, where now 6 months to potentially a year sooner, the trust funds will run out and people will only be getting about 75 to 78% of the check that they're supposed to on retirement. So yeah, he's cool with it. He's super down with it. He missed an opportunity for doing that here. Eliminating dual coverage for employees. Let's talk about it real quick. Without these agreements, employees, employers, and self-employed workers could pay Social Security system taxes to both the United States and an agreement country for the same earnings. In other words, people would be double taxed, double Social Security tax. Under the agreements, if you work as an employee in the United States, you normally will be covered by the United States Social Security system, and you and your employer will pay Social Security Medicare taxes only to the United States. If you work as an employee in an agreement country, so you're working, let's say, overseas for whatever reason, but you're still a U.S. citizen, that connection, you normally will be covered by the agreement country, and you or your employer pays Social Security taxes only to the agreement country. Special rules apply to Italy. And of course, they could have special rules apply to Ukraine. On the other hand, if your employer sends you from one agreement country to another agreement country for 5 years or fewer, you will continue to be covered by your home country and you will be exempt from coverage in the other country. For Denmark only, employees transfer from Denmark to the United States for 3 years or fewer retain Danish Social Security coverage. So, bottom line is Denmark's shooting the people over here to get the benefits over here. Now, eliminating dual coverage for self-employed workers. In general, U.S. Social Security covers self-employed workers if they are U.S. citizens or resident non-U.S. citizens, even if they live and work outside of the United States. Under the agreement, self-employed workers who would normally have to pay to both countries will only have to pay one country. So bottom line is, out of those places that we've talked about, Ukraine isn't on the map. And Biden missed an opportunity there to go ahead and mass fund future Ukraine citizens by having a credit transfer or a quarter of coverage transfer to the United States, so that whatever they paid into Ukraine, because Ukraine's, right now a shit show, destroyed and problematic, would be transferred over to the U.S. Social Security system as a burden on the American taxpayer to pay out basically benefits to these recipients. Why would Biden likely do this? Well, Biden knows that SSI benefits come from general taxes, and politicians like to spend general taxes. In fact, you might say that's their favorite thing to do. Now, if Biden had signed this bilateral agreement with Ukraine, given a little bit of special treatment there, then he would have been able to drain Social Security with all the Ukrainians coming over to have to live in the United States, as opposed to draining the general taxes, which would have been smart for how he was politically running things. But they didn't see the opportunities, so I think Donald Trump will probably celebrate their whoopsie with this particular item. Remember, I waited until January 12th to do this video because I know they're not going to pass anything like this in between now and then. If they do, it's probably my fault. So anyways, I want you to know that this is something they missed for doing things the way that they were doing things over the past so many years with Ukraine. Bottom line is, I think it's a good thing for America that they did miss this, because now these Ukraine individuals that are coming to the U.S. have to utilize SSI, and they have to go in through the traditional SSI entrant, refugee, asylum seeker individual programs, as opposed to having automatic credit transfer or quarters of coverage transfer from that other country during a wartime or war experience or whatever. Because, they with these agreements, they can set up whatever rules they want. They can sign whatever stuff they want and do that, between the president and the president of Ukraine. So anyways, I will catch you. Oh, that's a good question. Rude Rabbit said, what if Trump takes over Greenland? So Greenland, I'd have to do a specific thing for Greenland, because they don't have this bilateral agreement set up. But B, the other side of the coin is, that would, to be fair, look, so there's two levels of taking over these other countries. So if we look at Greenland, we look at Iceland, we look at Canada, stuff like that, they start out as like a possession, right? A possession of the United States, kind of like, Puerto Rico, kind of like Guam, kind of like stuff like that, right? U.S. Virgin Islands, whatever. Then they transfer into state status, right? And then with the state status, once you get to state status, the taxes just go right into the federal government. It's not so much that they go into the federal government and go back to Puerto Rico. They go right in and they stay there. And then everybody has to participate in the federal government programs, which, as you know, is the most inefficient, disgustingly, improper way to run things. But that's how they do it. So the bottom line is, if Trump tried to go ahead and successfully did incorporate Greenland as a possession, there would be a bilateral agreement. But in the beginning, whatever Greenland made would go to the US Treasury and then go right back to Greenland, and Greenland would use it to go ahead and pay for things. But then after that, if Greenland became a state, then Greenland would have to join and do all these things, basically, like every other state has to, where everybody would be participating in traditional Social Security, taxes in the form of FICA taxes. Unless, of course, Greenland negotiated something else. We have the Mariana Islands, stuff like that. Guam, they all have different little details for what they negotiated. Like, some of them, these little islands, they get SSI benefits and they're not even state yet. Whereas places like Puerto Rico doesn't get SSI benefits, even though they're a big island and they have a lot of taxes and stuff like that. But I think the real concern with Puerto Rico was that the amount of tax abuse and the amount of shitty politicians there is at a real high level. I mean, not Haiti level, but at a real high level. So I think that's what one of the concerns was. America was going to, have Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico wasn't going to properly collect enough taxes. And then, America was going to have to foot the bill massively on Puerto Rico. But at the same time, there's a lot of people, especially in the Bitcoin universe, who bought all of the waterside houses down in Puerto Rico. And as a result of that, Puerto Rico now has some real tax money coming in. So there is that side. Oh my God, this chair is going to break. I can feel it. I can feel it's going to break on me. Anyways, I hope you're all doing well. I will catch you guys a little bit later. You have a wonderful, wonderful day, a wonderful weekend. I've got to get outside and get to work, but please remember to like, subscribe, become a subscriber and a member if you want, and also head to Google, type in Disability Resolution Law Firm or Disability Resolution Florida. Throw some reviews up there. I always appreciate them. A super thank you to Royalty72, which is Diana. She's one of our royal people that's been with us for a really long time. You can see by the little logo next to her name. She did a donation of $1.49, which we always appreciate, which is absolutely amazing. Keep in mind, guys, I make these videos. I update you. I give you status updates. I hope you enjoy them. If you do like them, throw some stars up on Google. You have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Please remember, I go live on Mondays and Thursdays. And then also, very important, I do a 1-hour private session. Mini contract is below if you want to do one. And I will catch you a little bit later. Have a wonderful night. We'll go from there. Thanks so much. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.